LigoWave. Welcome, Caleb.
All right, everybody. How's it going? Just want to make sure you can hear me okay.
We can hear you just
coming
fine.
through? All right.
Yep.
Well, we'll go ahead and get started then. So today's webinar is about our current products that we're using, our upcoming products, and a little bit of a roadmap. Our WNMS system, which is our network management system, and also our LinkCalc application, which do link planning and calculations. So, which I just ran through here. Just a little bit of an intro. Like Richard said, I've been working for LigoWave since we've launched the brand in 2007. Been doing wireless activities for about 10 years now, back in the hacking Wet 11 days and doing questionable things with Tupperware back in the day. So I've been doing this for a little while. I do primarily pre-sale support and post-sales technical support. Now, the first product I'd like to discuss is our current line, which is our first generation point-to-point products. And these are the products where a lot of people are familiar with. We've been shipping these since roughly the beginning of 2008 and so. What we use is our proprietary WJet protocol. And what this is our TDD-based system. It's what we call the protocols that we use to do our block aggregations. That really cuts down your latency, increases your speed, and provides a higher packet per second count than standard Wi-Fi types of products. So we have a number of bands that we cover, 900 megahertz, 2.4, 3 gigahertz, both the US 365 light license version and the 3.5 international versions. And of course, our most common product was our 5 gigahertz solution. We have flexible radio bandwidth, so depending on the band, you can use 5, 10, 20, or 40 megahertz channels. Typically, 40 megahertz is only for use in the 5 gig band. Using a 40 megahertz channel, that's given us up to 70 megs of real TCP throughput, like real Ethernet data throughput. If you're using the 20 megahertz, like on 900 or 365, then the 20 megahertz channel will give you about 40 megs of real throughput. So a lot of high throughput, and that's an aggregate speed. So it's a combination of up and down, and the allocation of the upload and the download is based on demand. So it's not like a fixed 20-20 or 35-35. It's based on demand, and it updates with every packet transition. So your traditional WISP links are usually more heavily weighted in one direction. So if your link needs to do 30 and 10, it'll do that automatically. If the demand is bidirectionally equal, it'll do 20-20 or 5 and 35, just whatever the link demands. It automatically does that for you. We have very high transmit power for the line and the bands, really high receive sensitivity as well, so this gives us the ability to run some long-distance links. I've had my hands on a number of 45, 50-mile links. Runs really well, as soon as, assuming that you're using the right antenna setup, of course. We have excellent packet per second count, up to 50,000 packets per second. That's really important when you're doing things like a lot of VoIP traffic or something that's passing a large amount of very small packets. That packet per second count really comes into play, and this is an area where our proprietary WJet system sort of really shines over than 802.11a or N or something like that, because instead of maxing out at 5,000 or 6,000 packets per second and getting a lot of patchy latency and jitter when you're using like a voice over system or something like that, this will just blow right through there and will allow you to really pump a lot of that small packet data through the system. This protocol also allows for low packet latency, of course, and that is also tied into the high packet per second count. Not only are we able to plow through a bunch of small packets, we do it with really low latency, which is really important for these types of operations. We have a proven operating system. The core of this operating system has been in development since about 4 years now. We've been working on this core and constantly adding and upgrading, but the base selection has been in use for a long time, and it's been able to allow us to launch firmware updates and releases and stuff without having to do a whole ton of betas and step releases every week or something like that. We're able to release in a controlled sort of manner, which is really important for professional WISP operators. We have our flex-based GUI system. It's a really advanced type of GUI layout, and there's a lot of neat stuff it does in there, like, of course, all your statistics and all that, fun stuff. SNMP, but it's got a lot of different graphs. You can graph traffic throughputs, RSSIs over time, and all that, and it's a good way to give you a quick glance to see how the system's doing. It also has a number of built-in link test tools that gives you packet count and throughputs for a bunch of different packet sizes which allows you, again, to give you an in-band sort of test system to see how your system is running. We have a centralized management and monitoring system, which is WMS. We'll get to that here in a little bit. Of course, all these enclosures are IP67 compliant, really easy mounting setups. You can see the mounting articulating bracket and arm here on the two pictures to the side. You can do both a wall mount or your most common pipe mount up to 6 inches. So really gives you a lot of options in mounting there. Also with the easy-to-use Cat5 gland, it's a lot easier to use than a lot of other competitor systems in terms of plugging it up, water sealing it, so on and so forth. There's a couple of different levels of built-in surge protection. Mainly the PoE surge protection on the inside is a standalone shock board, which allows you to protect your system from transient spikes or ESD coming up your PoE line. And it also means that if you do get a heavy surge, a lightning strike or something that hits your tower, that surge protector acts as a small sacrificial type of board where it'll burn out and still leave all the really expensive parts protected. So, you know, if you do get a strike, the repair cost is going to be a lot less to just swap out that small component versus going through and having to replace all the intelligent guts behind it. Really helpful, and it's just something that, you know, makes repairs and that sort of stuff easier for the customer. And the link planning tool, we'll get in more of that in details, but it actually has all the specs and whatnot for these products built into it. So we've been shipping, like I said, that previous generation we've been shipping for several years now. At the very beginning of this year, we actually started shipping our next line, which is our MIMO product. This is a 2x2 MIMO, so you're using both horizontal and vertical polarities at the same time. Again, it has our WJet underpinning, so not only are you getting the additional benefit of a true MIMO system and using both polarities at the same time, we're also adding on all our custom timing and block act protocols and stuff like that. That makes it even faster than a lot of the commodity type end products that are out there. We have channel bandwidth selections right now are 20 and 40 megahertz. On a 40 megahertz channel, you're getting about 180 megs of rail throughput. The max you're going to get in one direction is 100 megs just because we're using FAST-E data ports. So if you're totally maxing out, you'll get about 95 in one way and 85 the other, give or take, or 100 and 80, just depending on what you've got it plugged into on the Ethernet side. Again, high transmit power, good receive sensitivity. We've actually run some of these links up to 75 miles recently. At 75 miles, we're still pulling about 40 megs through it. So that's just sort of a testament of the proprietary things we've done to these systems to make them run a lot further than what you could do with other types of gear. Good packet per second count, up to 35K. And most of the other features, like the GUI, is similar but not exactly the same, but it's got all the same features and stuff like that, just a little bit of the different layout protocols. Now, one thing I would like to point out as well is, I don't know if you can see my mouse, but over here you'll have this little panel here on the side. That's our exterior OLED or organic LED display. And I've actually got a little video here, theoretically. Come on. This takes just a second to load. But you can see here, this is a little panel on the side, and while the unit is loading and booting up, it'll display, you know, pretty basic info, just telling you that it's booting up. Once it gets done, you'll get this welcome message here, and you'll be presented with the main screen. And what you do is you hold down the unlock button, and that'll give you access to all the menus. And you can put a PIN code in here that'll make it safe, so you protect it with a code to lock it. You'll see we've got a lot of options here. You can reboot the unit, reset it to defaults, link test, which is the actual bandwidth test that it runs across it. You can set all the parameters there. You can do the antenna alignment, which is really handy when you're up on the pole waggling around, especially on the integrated units. The 523 with the built-in antenna allows you to aim that and get it done without having to rely on the laptop to do the dialing. Also handy are all these stats on the side. If you set one up and then threw it on the shelf for 6 months, forgot about it, and go to use it, you can see what the IPs are. You can actually reset it to defaults here. Really makes management and stuff a lot easier. So, you know, it's a shiny piece of kit, and it's good for presentations and stuff, and for these simple sort of things like that. You can see an example. Here's the link test here. This link is pulling 114 megs one direction. So good information to have with a 2048 byte packet. So these are big packet transfer that I was doing on this little example. But again, this is more things to make installation for the customer easier and to allow you to go about your day.